Hello and welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. My name is WWEdeadman, but you already know that. And that is what I thought up as a refueling unit. Yeah, I know that's monstrous, but I don't want to fly up more missions than really necessary. And yeah, this is of course post-commentary again, and you're gonna see most of this in at least 4 times time acceleration, mostly 5 to 10 times. Just because, you know, even the frame rate on this launch wasn't really that good. And the frame rate of the lander, of course, is beyond anything that's funny, so... yeah. Anyway, what I did here is I had a docking port on top with the usual kind of pseudo-fairing, which is a nose cone on a decoupler that's turned around. So it decouples from the docking port on top and shoots off with some Separatrons. Yeah, the middle tanks are, I think those are 3 or 4 full NASA tanks. So, yeah. The middle stage has those side-mounted Rocomax engines that to break into the rendezvous with the lander. Also, it has a bunch of RCS with it and stuff like that. Anyway, booster separation right there. There go the liquid boosters. Quite clear separation. I don't care if they fly into each other on the way down. They didn't fly into the main rocket, and that's what the Separatrons were for, pretty much. Yeah. As you see, we lost a little bit of velocity for a while, but that didn't stop us from ascending further in the end. Starting the gravity turn at 10,000 meters. Looking at the map for a little bit, and yeah, looks good. I don't know about you, but I think this is so fucking huge that it's probably not even funny anymore. I don't know. Now, think about controlling this in a docking situation at like 2 or 3 FPS, because that's what I did after I got this into orbit. Separation of the second set of engines right here. That went pretty much like the first separation. Oh well. And the last set of engines brought us up into a stable curb in orbit without any problem, really. The only problem really about the whole thing was that our target, the Eve rescue mission, was on the other side of the planet at the time, which means that we had pretty much made this the worst possible scenario for a rendezvous. Ended up waiting a bunch of orbits and then burning into a suitable rendezvous. But as you see, that was not a problem. And yeah, let's cut over to the separation of the main engines. And also, yeah, that fairing. I shot that off into Nirvana. Yeah, I think I didn't show you the actual decoupling of the main engines, but that's not too much of a concern anyway. That went pretty well. But what didn't go very well was that right about here, I suddenly stopped being able to steer this thing. I was steering the other direction and it went in that one. And I ended up shooting past it. I couldn't reverse, I could do nothing. I had no control over this whatsoever. I was not in a time acceleration mode. I did not have no electric charge left because the battery was pretty much full at the moment. Anyway, I ended up reloading and, well, the whole thing didn't handle very well, let's say it like that. So I ended up having to reverse and shit and get that back over. Then I started using the chase cam so I could look at it better. But in the end, I ended up docking, as you see right here. This is, by the way, real time. That's the frame rate I was playing at. Yeah, I'm gonna start time accelerating again. And there was the dock, and then we could start refilling our tanks. What I had left were 3 full tanks and 1 pretty much half full tank of the NASA mission pack big tanks. So since all the middle tank of our escape vehicle is a big tank, the other ones are half tanks with a quarter tank on top. Yeah, and then we have 5 of the half Rockomax tanks, which were all pretty much about to be filled up. And after I did the whole refilling, I undocked, and we had pretty much about 1, it was pretty much exactly 1 more NASA tank to refill. So yeah, I used the infinite fuel cheat there for a minute to deorbit that thing. That's not a big of a deal, and I just wanted it to be out of the way and never to show up anywhere again. You know, if that ended up in a very close orbit to our lander, and I had to bring in like pretty much another one of those missions to fill it completely up, or when I started building the transfer vehicle or something, then yeah, that's pretty much not gonna improve my FPS performance, if you know what I mean. So I ended up cheating that out of the orbit. Not a big deal, really. Well, after that, rinse and repeat, pretty much. What I did though, I segmented it, so when I was going to send up the engine and the fuel for the engine, wanted to just undock the empty part and get rid of that first. As you see, the launching vehicle for that didn't work very well on the first try. Also, I kind of broke the launch stability enhancers if you look at it right here. That's, by the way, real time, not in any way altered. Yeah. Look, have you seen something like that before? I think I broke the game. Anyway, after a few tweaks to that, I ended up having 4 tanks on the outer parts to launch the 3 tanks in the middle. Yeah. Anyway, That's 10 times time accelerated, so you know that didn't take off very well, but it made it to orbit with no problem. Yeah, also this thing had like insane amounts of RCS fuel. Which is a good thing, I guess. Anyway, so as I said, I wanted to refill with the outermost tank of the three in the middle. Whichever end I ended up docking, I would just take the tank from the other end and refill the lander with that. Nice separation there, and yeah, then get rid of the empty tank, dock a few more tanks, and then dock the engine. Well, we're gonna get into detail about what I did in the end at the end of the episode, but let's just say that would have pretty much killed my game, probably. You know, well, I can't talk about it right now since, you know, we're just getting into orbit. That's something you've seen quite a lot. Apart from the fact that I launched us pretty much into an almost rendezvous right there, as you see. Anyway, I say anyway too much today, I think. Yeah, so this is the docking. This is again real time. That was, I think, 3 FPS or something like that. So that's the reason why I thought, hey, if I undock the last tank and then fly this mission up again and dock them to the 2 tanks that are there, and then fly an engine up, nuclear engine pretty much, and I'm gonna show you the design I would have used for that later. Then pretty much when I'm gonna try to fly that, I'm gonna either have 1 FPS, and I don't want to play at 1 FPS. The 3 FPS there were hard enough, and yeah, I just no way. Yeah, that was a successful docking there. And anyway, after I then refilled the whole thing, which was, as I said, pretty much the last tank there, which fortunately was the one that had the probe attached to it. Yeah, that's I pretty much docked reverse. Anyway, I should stop saying anyway. Yeah. So I refilled all those tanks, and yeah, if I would have done as I said, I would have probably either have 1 FPS or I would just straight up crash the game. Because Unity has a very limited amount of parts you can really have in this game. Unity being the engine used by Kerbal Space Program. I'd say it's not the best engine. It's a pretty cool engine, but it just has some issues. Anyway, the SAS units I had attached back there for the launch of the escape vehicle, yeah, those had to go too. I had those on an action group, so that was a pretty nice firework going off by pressing 5. Come on. Yeah, and right into my landing gear. I checked if everything was still intact after that. It was, so in the end it worked, I guess. So yeah, what I would have done, as I said, is I would have just undocked this part right here on dock, or decouple node in this case. But yeah. Then gotten that away from the ship. Come on. I've got to get away. I've got to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now stop singing before I get a copyright strike. Yeah. Get that thing away from there. And then time acceleration, please. Turn that over, get it away from the ship, time accelerate out of the sphere, or far enough away so that thing despawns, so to say. So we don't have to see it in the distance and make our game lag. 'Cause once this is far enough away to not be shown anymore, we suddenly have a normal frame rate again. There we go. Normal frame rate all of a sudden. So yeah, point that retrograde and use the remaining RCS in that to deorbit it. At 4 times physical time acceleration. Because that is just faster and we don't really need to care about whether we break anything. I mean, this thing is debris anyway. Yep, that's definitely a periapsis inside Kerbin's atmosphere. So we can time accelerate and get rid of this part. In the end, I got rid of the other parts to the 2 full tanks because I just didn't want to send the mission up again and have even more parts on that ship. Even if the game would have not crashed, this would have not been playable anymore. Quite literally. And I would have probably sat here like 24 hours just playing the game, trying to get over to Eve. And in the end, that's just not something I don't want to deal with. You know that it would be possible. I mean, we pushed over the other lander. We could have towed this one over. Would have not been a problem at all. If Unity wasn't such a shitty engine. You know, if they would have just a way to process the physics on more than one of my cores of my CPU, that would be a very great thing. By the way, we're going right over KSC, as you see. Nice view of KSC at nighttime from above. Yeah, if the Unity engine would be able to use multiple threads for the physics calculations, then we could have each of those threads on one core by itself, and we could have just big ships in this game without having any problems. Because the problem here isn't really that. Yeah, anyway, the nuclear engine I would have used would have probably looked like that. Would have docked by the parts down there. Yeah, and that's that. But as I said, the game would have probably crashed due to the physics calculation limitations. Nice dawn we have there, by the way. And this crashes into the ocean and vanishes for some reason. Yeah. So, as I said, I ended up using the infinite fuel cheat and let the lander fly over on its own engines, because that already takes enough time, and I really don't wanna spend like a whole day just flying in a ship over at 1 frame per second or something like that. And I don't want to crash my game either, so yeah. Due to the limitations this game has, I can't do that in any other way. So I'd say I'll see you at Eve in the next episode. Till then, like and favorite if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more, and until next time, I'm WWEdeadman. Bye!